Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Blunt Truth with Braylon Crest. I'm, of course, Braylon Crest, and it is episode 5 of The Blunt Truth. Today's episode, we will be discussing the lawsuit with Afroman, rapper, comedian. He's a very fucking funny guy, and the police department that raided his home, um, looking for evidence of drug trafficking and kidnapping. But actually, they went completely unprofessional and found nothing of the sorts in his house, and just did a lot of things that they aren't allowed to do. This case, to me, proves that justice can truly be served, and it's just a matter of what we do to make it public. Let's get into it.
Lemon pound cake, he wanna put down his guap. Lemon pound cake.
Alright, well, I hope that you guys enjoyed that special theme song for today's episode. Of course, that is Lemon Pound Cake by Afroman. We'll get into that, and we'll get into the whole Lemon Pound Cake album, which is degrading every police officer in the department. But first, how did we get here? So, Afroman is an American rapper and comedian who is known for his song, and you've fucking heard it. You can't even tell me that you haven't. Like, if you haven't heard it, then you were either born in the past 5 years, or you're somehow living under a rock. We've all heard, I was gonna clean my room, but I got high. We've all heard that song. It's a funny song, and it's not really something to take seriously. I mean, the same thing kind of goes for Afroman's entire career. But so we can get to know that he has some hits. He's a famous star. Afroman, I mean, he's probably one of the funniest rappers I've seen. Actually, it's kind of hard to consistently make catchy and also comedic songs, and I think, but that's exactly what he has done. But besides that, how did we get here? So, of course, Afroman had built a name for himself, and had released several albums up to this point. But I mean, his songs aren't usually to be taken very seriously. They're mostly just jokes. In 2022, I believe late 2022, there was a police raid. The police broke down, or the police broke the gate at Afroman's home and broke down his door. Afroman claimed that his children were in there while they were raiding, and that his family and the rest of his family were. Afroman didn't explicitly state if he was there or not, but what we do know is that there were some people present. It was violent. They broke the door down, of course, coming in with guns, as you will, on a raid. And they come walking through looking for anything to prove looking for any illegal drugs, thousands of pounds of weed and cannabis that they can lock them up for. Also, this was before anything of that sort was even kind of fully legal, so no matter what, they could still bust him for that. They were also looking for the kidnapped victims that have been alleged and that they're allegedly looking for. But I mean, like, come on, somebody like Afroman, you think that he's fucking kidnapping people? Like, I'm not to say that not anybody can get kidnapped, but I'm just saying, he seems kind of like a weird kind of suspect to fucking kidnap a bunch of random people. Like, why does he have any business doing that? Like, sorry, but they were looking for that evidence, but accused, and I mean, this is true, I don't give a fuck, go ahead, sue me next, accused by Afroman, the police acted very irresponsibly. I mean, this was caught on his camera footage. They, instead of looking, in critical spots like safes, cabinets, things of that sort, they went after his coat pockets. They went in his closet and reached in his coat pockets looking to where they could find illegal drugs. You're not going to find illegal drugs in a coat pocket. I'm sorry, unless it's in some weird place. They looked in all of his designer coats and designer bags, and then they went to his big stack of CDs. Where the fuck? And like he had said in his diss tracks, I'm sorry, but where are you going to find thousands of pounds of weed in my CDs? It's kind of true. Where are you going to find all that in CDs? You know you're not. See, the thing is about this, I believe that they knew Afroman was famous. So they began just going and checking and kind of going through his stuff, which is highly illegal and highly irresponsible of a police station. Afroman also accused the Adams County Sheriff's Office in Ohio of stealing money from him, as certain officers allegedly stole money from him, and that one of the officers was allegedly a pedophile as well. But, I mean, just not a busted one. I mean, look, I'm not here to say anything crazy, you know, I mean, this video really isn't political compared to what I post usually, but, I mean, listen, pedophiles are hiding, we know that, we've seen that when the Epstein files came out, I mean, they're hiding everywhere. But let's get to the diss tracks. Okay, so, on January 9th, 2023, Afroman released his album, Lemon Pound Cake. And it was a complete just degradation of diss tracks, a series of them, against the police department and the police men and women that were on the scene at his home and had things to do with the raid. So the first in the beginning, it starts out as just a skit going over how they likely acted, just called the police raid. And then the second one, Lemon Pound Cake. Now, actually, let me give some context behind what Lemon Pound Cake means. So, when the sheriff was raiding his house, who is pretty much overweight. I mean, I'm not here to diss, but he's a fat fucker. So he was walking through, and he was looking around, and of course he's supposed to be looking around for evidence and shit like that. But then, something caught his eye. We saw in the security camera footage that the officer in particular was eyeing down some lemon pound cake that was on Afroman's counter. He was staring at it like this. You know, not how a normal person who is very serious about this would be looking. And also, I just want to bring this to light. You wouldn't be eyeing food that could potentially be laced if the person is drug trafficking, as you were saying. Also, this cop allegedly ate some of the lemon pound cake, according to Afroman. There's no video evidence of this, but if that truly did happen, I think it's completely hilarious. And I mean, he is kind of a fatty, so I'm going to choose to believe it. I'm not going to lie. But he released lemon pound cake mocking the officer. It's actually very catchy. Very, very catchy. But can't play it, copyright reasons. But you get the gist. You wouldn't want it. After Lemon Pound Cake, it was, why are you disconnecting my camera? Now, this one is specifically a diss track to Randy Walters of that police department. Randy Walters allegedly disconnected his security camera after he saw it, and he was, scared because they obviously weren't conducting themselves in a normal manner, and that normal people would. I mean, come on. Come on. But yeah, he was like, Randy Walters is a son of a bitch. Pretty catchy. I Have a Good Time came after that, but I'd say it's not really relevant. Now, if we just get to the rest, will you help me repair my door? Of course, targeting the officers that broke down his door and his gate. Saying, hey, bitch, you just ruined my fucking door. You ruined my gate. And also in the song, he says, "You traumatized my children. Was any of that necessary? Are you gonna help fix it, or are you just gonna sit there and be a jackass?" But you get the gist. Also, lick 'em low, Lisa. Just saying, that one's a little crazy. Lick 'em low. Or so Lisa, the police officer that he's referring to, I don't believe that she is transgender, but she has a very deep voice, and she is very manly presenting, and masculine presenting, and I think that strong belief for him that she is transgender. So he, comes out and calls her all these things, and I mean, you know what? Do it, because if it comes out, and if she is, transgender, or even for the people who are, not to sound transphobic here, it's just a mental disorder. We shouldn't be supporting somebody who's not mentally all there. Sorry, it should be treated, not supported. But anyway, we got all that. Lick 'em low, Lisa. It was crazy. But now, we get to the hard part. In 2023, 7 deputies sued Afroman for $3.9 million, claiming defamation, invasion of privacy, and emotional distress caused by the videos and related merchandise. Listen, you came into his house, you saw the security cameras, you are a police officer, you should know that your shit's gonna be public. And a lot of the time, even when you're a police officer, I'm not saying that it's like a public job, but I mean, you're gonna have to talk and do this thing. Like, it's like not something. It's not a private job. I'll tell you that. It's not a private job. So all these deputies that are suing him, it's almost as if you didn't know what your career was, or you didn't expect this out of your career. I don't know. I think it's really weird. But they went to court. And the trial lasted a mere 2 days, going from March 16th to March 18th. But I think it's worth talking about. These deputies, they got what they fucking deserved. They came in thinking that they knew the world, thinking that this, thinking that, being so serious, acting as if this is some big thing because of some goofy diss tracks from a satire rapper, who, I mean, come on, he's never released a serious song in his life. They came in super serious, and Afroman came in with his afro, came in with American flag shades, and came in an American flag, full, decoded suit. It was beautiful, and he looked fucking flamboyant, and like, he wasn't worried about shit. Like, he didn't give a fuck. It was so funny. And I mean, the amount of times they tried to pull this shit. Well, you have no proof to this. Da 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 da. So I mean, we'll start out. And they actually had to listen to all their diss tracks in the court. I mean, Lisa's was obviously the most covered out of it, because, well, she started crying during Lisa Lick'em which is 13 minutes long, by the way. So, I mean, that is kind of torture. I'm not here to, to try to defend it, but I mean, bitch, I don't know. She forced out these fucking crocodile tears where she's like, it didn't work in her favor, but she still tried it. But, I mean, what can we expect? I mean, she's literally trying to defend herself. I think that was just trying to get the pity from the judge, and to be like, go easy on me, judge. Go easy on me. But the thing is, you're not innocent. You had misconduct when that happened, and they claim that these diss tracks affect them so much. But I mean, they knew who Afroman was before they did the raid. They knew that they should act professional and that they shouldn't go after a shit because he's a celebrity. They knew that they should act professional because, I mean, it's a very serious accusation, but they didn't act professional. When they came there, they did so many things wrong. They looked in his coat pockets, they looked in his CDs, they ate his fucking food. They, stormed around. They broke his door. They broke his gate. They acted completely unprofessionally. And I understand that it could be a hostage situation, as if they were saying. But I mean, genuinely, there was no need. If you were actually, convinced that he's some violent criminal, you wouldn't go after looking in his fucking closet and looking at his designer clothes. You'd go looking in his cabinets. You'd go looking. You go looking in his safes, you go looking everywhere. And also, you'd make sure that you wouldn't want to disturb the kids that are there. I mean, it's just kind of misconduct, but it's okay. Not kind of, it's very bad misconduct, but it's aight. It's aight. So, they had to listen to the diss tracks made on them, and, they made this, sad case, innocent officers. We went through so much, and this I'm so sad. Please, mercy, please. Why do you want mercy? See, you didn't give Afro mercy when you came into his house violently. You didn't give him mercy when you broke down his door violently. You didn't give him mercy when you broke his gate violently. You didn't give him mercy when you ate his fucking food that, by the way, could be laced because you're saying he's a drug trafficker. You didn't give him mercy when you, fucking opened up all his CDs, all his vinyls, all his fucking music shit because you knew that he was a celebrity. Let's face it. This isn't because you thought that it could be in there. This is because you knew damn motherfucking well that he is a celebrity and that you can get away with that shit, or you can check and see the riches that he has, and not to mention one of them stole his fucking money. That is a clear sign, and that is a clear sign of exploiting somebody's case because they're a celebrity. And I mean, a lot of people don't know Afrojack by name, but maybe one of those cops did, or maybe those cops looked up Afrojack and looked at his music and did this and that, and they're like, holy shit, he's famous, and they told everybody else before they raided. Because listen, if this was a normal hostage situation with drug trafficking, they would not, and I promise you that they would not go and look in CD boxes. They wouldn't go and look in fucking coats, designer coats in closets. They wouldn't eat his fucking his lemon pie, or no, not pie, his lemon pound cake. They wouldn't do that. That's not how it would work if it was a normal person. But they know, and it's not just some sort of accusation. It's using context clues. They knew at least a little bit that he was a celebrity, because if they didn't know that, then they're terrible fucking cops and they need to immediately be fired. Because first of all, it's a lose-lose situation. If they knew he was a celebrity, then they were intentionally going after his stuff and looking for it and knowing what he had done, or knowing that what he does and who he is as as the public does. But if he was a random person, you're going around and snooping in and looking for shit that doesn't fucking matter. I mean, this is the worst case of fucking irresponsibility on the side of the police that we've ever seen, if this is true. I mean, come on. But they went to court and they went through for several days. They cut their bullshit, whiny testimonies and spoke to the judge and begged for mercy. Their lawyer thought that he was good, and they came in. The thing is, they came in with all this professional shit. They were gonna take him down. No, Afroman came in, and when he was speaking, he was like, "Well, you're a pedophile, first of all," and they're like, "Actually, you have no evidence other than that one piece of evidence, bitch. That's still evidence. I'm sorry to tell you that That's still evidence. If there's still one piece of evidence calling somebody a pedophile, then possibly they might be a pedophile. I'm sorry to tell you, but also there shouldn't be cops that have sexting allegations from to minors. On the police department, or even their younger brother. More say on the in the police department, and also if they have allegations themselves and their sibling is also a convicted pedophile, they shouldn't be a police. It's disgusting. But this video isn't about pedophiles. It's just about Afro went right the fuck after him. They're like, actually, you have no proof to back that up, other than that one piece of proof. And it's like, yeah, there's still one piece of evidence. There's still something to back that up. It's not a baseless theory. It's not a baseless allegation. There is some truth to it. And your younger brother is a convicted pedophile. We can talk about it, but it's not worth it. You can't try to defend something by saying that there's only one piece of evidence while you're acknowledging that there's evidence. Because that is literally like saying, listen. And like the person can be like, oh, you're never funny. Or like they can be like, listen, you're not funny, you're never funny, you're so unfunny always. And then the person can be like, I made you laugh once, so clearly I'm funny sometimes. That is a good argument. And it goes the same for the pedophile debate. That is a great argument, saying this piece of evidence, I'm not sure what the complete piece of evidence was because they didn't completely elaborate, because they wanted to back away from the subject because they knew that they're guilty. The thing is, one piece of evidence can change everything. So I really don't want to hear these fucked up, police and the lawyer trying to say, well, there's only one piece of evidence, so, didn't happen. Fucking gross. And then we have Lisa up, and I already brought this up before, but they played the 13-minute Lisa Lick 'em Down. Or not Lick 'em Down, Lick 'em Low. It was bad. She had to sit there as they played the played the MP on the smartboard. She did the just enough so the microphones could pick it up. Why is that? Because Lisa wants empathy. And listen, narcissistic people that know that they're in the wrong, and trust me because I've lived with people like this before, but people that know that they're in the wrong, and narcissistic people like Lisa, they'll force out tears. They'll cry to try in an attempt to make you feel bad for them and to make you feel like, well, it was a mistake, this and that. Nobody deserves this. Aw. You fucked with a fucking rapper, dude. You fucked with a rapper who you likely knew was a rapper when you were raiding his house and did all that terrible shit, and you expected no consequences? Kind of embarrassing. But see, Afroman, every time they spoke to him, he came back sharper. Afroman wasn't as professional. Afroman didn't force these tears. Afroman has a lot more to cry about than these police do. The police had a few diss tracks made on them. Oh, boo fucking who. Afroman had to pay to get a new door. He had to pay to get a new gate. He had to clean his fucking house. He had to, he couldn't eat his fucking lemon pound pie. And listen, Afroman, I'm not calling you fat, but you are a little overweight, so maybe he wanted that. And you just you destructed his house for no reason, on baseless allegations where there's no proof, and you looked and you found nothing. Absolutely nothing. And you went after things, and you went searching for things that made no sense to the case, and it's likely because you knew that he was a celebrity. They went in and they looked around and they did nothing. If anything, and all they did was just destruct and destroy his house while also traumatizing his kids because, spoiler alert, kids don't like being around police with guns. Kids don't like being around police that are breaking their fucking door down. Kids don't like being around police that are going around the house looking for shit. Kids don't like being in a scary fucking situation like that. You traumatized his kids. If anybody was supposed to be crying there, it should have been Afrojack. Not these fuck-ass these policemen and women at this fucking, at this police department that believe that they're completely in the right and, oh, boo-hoo, they made diss tracks. And this fat-ass cop is like, I got hundreds of lemon pound pies sent to me because of it. And I bet you fucking ate them all, you fat bitch. I bet you did. And because you know damn fucking well that it doesn't affect you that bad. You went and you destructed somebody's house. You went and you ruined somebody's reputation because of these drug trafficking and these kidnapping allegations. Whether they're true or not, whether they're proven or not, that absolutely fucks up somebody's career and that could ruin somebody's reputation. So you risked that. You could have really fucked up his rep, but you're lucky that he is who he is. You could have fucked that up so bad, and all you did was get a diss track made on you, which in my mind was completely acceptable considering what you had done. I mean, it's embarrassing on at 500 different levels. We see these police officers who are supposed to be more professional than us, who are supposed to, be them, or they're supposed to be people, right? But and cooperate and shit, but they don't act like it. When they're in court, they act like a bunch of fucking babies. They deny the true facts at hand here. He was missing money. There was money missing from his house. And whether you want to claim that that's evidence or not, in my brain, it is. If money that was previously there, that he has photo evidence of, that it was previously there, suddenly goes missing, and it's an accusation that is kind of proven by the other accusations, and you can see on the security camera footage that they're acting in extreme misconduct, then I think that it should be taken seriously that they took money from him. The lawyers completely went after him and said, "We didn't take money. You don't got proof to that. Ooh, boo-hoo, the photo. Nah, it doesn't prove anything." That might be where Afrojack is dead on that. He can't prove that. But that just because of that, I mean, the judge clearly took Afroman's side. The judge should look more into it. I mean, you shouldn't just do that. I mean, also, after what happened, they should also all be fired. But, I mean, I'll get to that after. Anyway, he acted in complete, he was just fucking unhinged. And it's tight. Because he has a reason to be. He should be the one up there crying and trying to get his pity from the court. But he doesn't give a fuck. He's so unserious and unbothered by it. You guys have such a big problem with getting a diss track made about you and getting and people that can fucking making fun of you, and oh no, people make fun of me because my voice is weird. People make fun of me because I'm fat. People this, people that. Nobody gives a fuck. What you did to his house and what you did during that investigation of that raid was unacceptable because you didn't go after shit that you know you should have gone after. You went after shit that you knew he had because he's a celebrity. You didn't, you didn't treat him like a normal person, and this should definitely get them a fire. But, I mean, who am I to know? This happened 4 years ago, by the way. 4 fucking years ago, and they're still in the same positions. Disgusting. But anyway, court went on, and this is where it all broke. On March 18th, 2026, Afroman won. Clap it up. Afroman won his lawsuit. He came out when he was walking out the courthouse. He talked to all these interviewers because actually this had become a pretty public case because of how misconducted and terrible these and terrible and misconducted these police officers are, and how they acted in court. They all interviewed Afroman, and you know what? Just to celebrate this, I think we need a round of applause. We like that? Yeah. Afroman won. But he's speaking and he's crying. Now he's finally showing emotion. He didn't show emotion in the courtroom. Showing emotion outside of the courtroom when you're finally kind of in private. Yes, he's speaking to a news reporter, but when you're kind of finally in private and you're outside speaking to a news reporter, and you feel a little more comfortable than being in front of a judge and being in front of a jury and being in front of lawyers, he's finally letting it out. See, crying those crocodile tears in front of all those people where you're clearly uncomfortable that you've presented, it's not normal. You're crying for attention. You're crying to get change on what's happening. And I mean, you're crying because you know that you're a guilty fuck at the end of the day. I mean, it's just kind of. But Afroman spoke. Afroman was crying. He was like, "Justice is served." Afroman spoke to all these reporters, saying that you know, speaking out against it all, saying that he's finally done with court, saying that justice is served, saying that the justice system has succeeded him, um, and you know that he's just gonna go and see his kids and shit, all in that bling. He leaves, goes back home, goes on more interviews and talks about it, talks about where he stands politically, talks about more songs that he might release, talks about the trial, talks about winning the trial, talks about what the background was and what ended up coming up of that. And I mean, he has every right to. Those police officers tried to victimize them. Were trying to victimize him, and trying to make themselves seem like they were the ones that were being, they tried to victimize themselves, making it seem as if they were the ones that were bad. Although we had seen what they had done. Boo-hoo, diss track! Boo-hoo, oh, I got a diss track made on me. You ruined his fucking house and traumatized his kids. That is disgusting. And now they'll go on, and hopefully they got fired. Actually, this is the case I want to make. All 7 of these deputies that sued him for the album, because clearly they pay attention to celebrity drama more than they do their job. Because, I mean, first of all, look at the way that they handled it, the raid when they were at his house, and the way that they treated it, and the way that it went down, the way that they acted. It was disgusting. But clearly they were inclined with what he's doing publicly. I mean, they saw the album, and they were so against it, and da-da-da. They were doing this to me, and they were giving, and I was given lemon pound cake, and yeah, because you're a fat bitch. I'm sorry, being called fat for eating somebody's food, being called reckless for breaking somebody's door down and breaking their gate, being called a thief for stealing somebody's money, being called irresponsible for looking in somebody's CDs and their music memorabilia, their other things, their designer coats, going in their closet, looking everywhere but the actual key places to look. I'm sorry, it's just fact. It's not defamation. You can try to fight me on this. It's not defamation to call out how you feel and to bring attention to a matter that is important to you. But what is defamation is trying to victimize yourself because you had a diss track made on yourself, trying to ruin somebody's reputation while destroying and destructing their house. Well, maybe that doesn't fall under defamation, but it definitely falls under something else. There should be legislation against this. If there is a no good, unnecessary investigation or raid that is done, and they acted irresponsible during this raid, and they didn't act the same way, and they didn't act how they should be acting in protocol, and it seems as if they're just acting this way because the person is a celebrity, they should be in jail. Sorry, they should be arrested, they should be fired, they should be given it all. Because if you're going to act a different way at somebody else's place because they're a celebrity, also never confirmed, but I think it's pretty clear. If you're going to act pretty different at somebody else's place because there's some rapper, different than you would act at somebody's place who is just an individual with like 10 followers on Facebook, then you don't deserve anything. I'm sorry to tell you, you just don't. Because clearly this was targeted. Clearly they were going after Afroman, and clearly they wanted some headline to be in. But it didn't work. They found absolutely nothing. They searched all the wrong places. They traumatized his kids. They damaged his property, and they destructed and ruined his house. When he came back, he had to pick up all that. He had to fix all that. He had to help his kids through this unforgettable trauma where you come in violently with these guns, breaking down his door violently, I mean, of course, I guess that is kind of how a raid goes, but I mean, they could have treated it differently, especially knowing that there were people there. They could have just knocked, like that would have done. But raiding through and doing all this terrible shit, putting your gun down to eat food, I mean, it's just you ruined his house. You made his house look like a hellhole. You put him through more than he put you through. Boo hoo! You have a diss track made about you from 4 years ago that you should be able to get over. I think that you're just frankly embarrassed, and you have such a power trip that you don't take that. You don't like when people present their power and present their freedoms over people like you. I love police, and I will forever agree that police are great at what they do and they're great at helping. But I mean that is impossible to acknowledge without acknowledging that there is also sorry, but that there is also police who abuse their power. And clearly these 7 deputies are examples of police who abuse their power. They weren't going after Afroman because they thought that he was a drug trafficker and because he was a kidnapper. They weren't doing that because if they were, they'd say it, they'd acknowledge how they treated the situation, and they would go in urgently. They treated him as if he was a celebrity that was being falsely accused. They knew it. We all knew it. There was an actual drug trafficker that you were big on catching, that you were 100% certain was there. You were going to get that bitch. You're going to look all over. If you were for 155% certain that there was a drug trafficker, a very violent one that kidnaps people, then you wouldn't go look in the places you did. You wouldn't do the things you did. And I hate to break it to you, it's just because you're irresponsible. You got to the job, you felt proud of yourself, you're like, I wonder what I can get away with. And you did. It's disgusting, and frankly, it shouldn't be tolerated. People and police officers and anybody in law enforcement who does this should be arrested. They should be fired and they should be arrested because this is abuse of power. This is not what they're taught. They're not taught to act a certain way. They're not taught to treat celebrities different than your ordinary Joe. They're not taught to do that. That's just themselves, pushing their agenda of being anti-fame, anti-Hollywood. Because, I mean, look, these people probably have a bias. They've probably seen where he stands politically. They've probably, seen what he does. They probably know all of this, and they went after him for a reason. I mean, listen, we know Afroman is very public about these things, and, I mean, if they knew that they were going to have to go raid his house, likely one of them searched him up on Google. And Afroman popped up immediately. Or, it could even go this. They saw his nice things in the house and assumed he was a celebrity. And then decided that they were going to go look after it, start looking in the wrong places, and steal his fucking money. I don't think that that's covered enough. Stealing somebody's money, especially as a police officer, it's not acceptable. It's really not. But that can be addressed later. They stole his money, and they caused irreparable damage. Not physically, but mentally. What they did almost ruined Afroman's reputation. And in retaliation, Afroman released an album criticizing each one of these crooked cops that tried to ruin him, that acted irresponsibly, that stole his money, that ate his food, that did these all terrible things. He went after them in retaliation with a diss track, and also probably in light to be funny. It's no shock that his songs are an over-exaggeration. I mean, his biggest hit is an exaggeration. That entire album is a clear exaggeration. Getting angry over exaggerated satire songs because you're being called out for misconduct, but you claim to be innocent, it doesn't give a good light on you. and I hate to tell you this, you're probably wrong. Afroman did virtually nothing wrong. But the good thing is that Afroman won. Justice is served, and this proves that the judicial system doesn't escape everybody. As much as people will say that the judicial system is this corrupt thing, it's not the same for everybody. And in that case, he won, even while acting super irresponsible, even while acting super unprofessional at the stand. But the reason is because he had his story straight. They didn't. They were lying, they were denying, and they were upset about what he did. They were upset that he exposed that they shut off his security camera so he couldn't catch them doing any more things. He was upset that he brought up the fact that they stole his money. He was upset that they brought up the fact that they were looking for supposed weed in his CDs and his designer coats instead of looking in actual places like pantries, vaults, even in a basement. They didn't look anywhere credible, and he called it out. At the end of the day, this is just a clear example of abuse of power. But it doesn't always work. And I think Afroman's case actually gets us through a beautiful example of that. Afroman knew what he was going to do, did it, got sued for it, went to court, and took his motherfucking money. Because Afroman isn't playing. Actually, Afroman should have been the one suing them for the way that they acted, but they sued him for the lawsuit. I'm not sure the employment status of these individuals, of these 7 deputies, but they should all be reprimanded and released from their contracts. It's disgusting and 100% incredibly unprofessional. Afroman got justice in that court. And it's sweet victory. Because it proves that not everybody is immune to the legal system. Not even police. As much as I love police, we need to call them out when they act wrong. Especially like this. You do these terrible and traumatizing acts to somebody at their home in front of their children. You mess up their house. I mean, you can make the children think that there's robbers and shit. I don't give a fuck how old they are. It's traumatizing. I wouldn't want to be in my house when it's getting raided by police. That's scary. See, they caused irreparable damage, and they tried suing him. Why? Because of a few diss tracks. Because of an album mocking them. Because they deserve to be mocked. Nothing that they did here deserves to be praised. Nothing that they did here deserves to be woohooed. Because it's not. It's unprofessional, and I think that it's a great thing that Afroman got his justice in court. And that he didn't have to go through this terrible, re-engagement in something that happened years ago. Afroman won because Afroman was the man in the right. This proves to every corrupt person in judicial, in law, in office, anywhere. I'm talking to you, Donald Trump. This shows that nobody is immune to the law. Nobody is immune to the judicial system. He won, and I sure hope that they're prosecuted. Maybe don't even give them trial. We've already seen what the case is that they make for themselves. This is done. What this has proved is that as much as people don't like to claim, there is corruptance in every branch of the government, in every branch of our life. This was proven, but this is just a rare case. We need to take people like this more seriously. And I'm not talking about people like George Floyd. I'm not talking about people like Alex Preddy or Renee Good. Those people are violent, and those people just got reprimanded. Also, by the way, not defending Alex Preddy or Renee Good getting killed. Don't think they deserve to get killed, but do think they deserve to go to jail or something. But George Floyd, I don't think he deserved to die either, but he was already overdosing in real time. It wasn't from the cop killing him. It was from an overdose. It was not from asphyxia. Stop lying. But that's not the main focus of this. The main focus is Afroman got his justice. Afroman gave us bangers to prove his point. Afroman went through the whole trial, went through the whole lawsuit that was filed against him years ago. He revisited this terrible, terrible shit. And he got through it. And he got through it with a smile. And with a tear running down his eye. The blunt truth is, don't act a certain way to somebody just because you know that they're not, or because they're a little abnormal, or they're not the same as somebody with 10 Twitter followers. Somebody with monthly listeners at all on Spotify is not the same as a normal person. But they are a normal person. We are all equal, and everybody deserves to be treated as such. Doing that and treating somebody as if they're not normal because they're a famous rapper is the purest and most disgusting case of corruptance. We need to stop this. It's impossible to ignore that police are sometimes corrupt. But so is everybody else. Everybody needs to be held accountable. But this is just some good. We see what Trump's doing, fucking up our country, but then we see people like Afroman, who just got justice for a clear injustice that was happening to him. Those diss tracks were great. They were funny. And they just brought light to what these people had done to him. Afroman won because he was telling the truth. And at the end, the truth always wins. The blunt truth is, do not act differently towards somebody. And don't be a fucking dumbass when it comes to how you're going to raid their home if they're accused of something. If they're accused of being a criminal, treat them as if they are one. Don't treat them like some prize. I'm just saying, there's a reason he dropped those diss tracks. It's because of how you conducted yourself. Don't conduct yourself in an embarrassing fashion and expect not to be called out for it or even get a diss track made on you. The blunt truth is, finally, don't act differently towards people when you don't know their next move. I'm so glad that Afroman has won his trial. He was innocent. He didn't do anything other than making a few satirical diss tracks. He deserved that win, and I'm incredibly proud of him, and I think he's a very funny guy. So, on behalf of us all, after seeing this Afroman trial, we need to stop fucking hiring dumbasses in court of law. Not court of law, but in law enforcement. We need to stop hiring dumbasses in law enforcement. or any branch of government, because this is how it happens. So from the Afro Man trial, I think that's what it's shown us. Thank you for watching. Episode 6 comes out soon, guys. Bye.